This is supposed to come. This is supposed to come.
Well, Mark,
Silence your phone.
I got a question for you.
Put them on vibrate or whatever you need.
A friend of mine asked me about, she's been trying to get hold of you about getting some space over here. Her name is Vicky Sauer. No, Vicky Sauer. She's trying to hold. No, Vicky Sauer. She's been trying to call you.
She's a rap.
Vicky Sauer?
Biggie Sauer. Biggie's
I know, but she's trying to set up an event and she can't get hold of him.
She wants to have a rap set at show. So
She shows up between
She said
6
she left him.
Get her contact information. She's a resident?
Yeah.
She is. She lives right across from the East Lake Area Park.
she's a rapper.
No.
No, I said because he said I thought he said Biggie Sauer. Okay.
Vicky Sauer.
I've never heard of Vicky a rapper before.
There's a picture from
Here, that's the home phone there.
What's this picture in front of you?
It's a
How are you doing,
dog.
Patrick?
A dog.
Yeah.
What do I want a dog in front of me?
Okay, welcome to Southwest Presidential Owners Association Board of Directors meeting, August 25th, 2015. Still have some people coming in. We are,
Don't tell
we'll
me.
just wait a quick second. It looks like Hello. Okay, so we're going to open it up with owner's comment period. So if you could, what I'd like, if you don't mind, is if you come up to the podium for owner's comment period, keep it to 2 minutes, please, and do me a favor, if you can, there's a camera there too, so it's streaming live, and hundreds of people watch this nightly. So you want to make sure that you say your name and where you live would be great, and we'd be happy to hear you. So anybody want to come up for owner's comment? This is your time to come to say whatever you, I'm sure you guys came to say something, right?
Okay, we're Peter and Kimberly. We're the Hannahs. We have a 4.5-year-old daughter, Adelaide.
Can you say your name again, I'm sorry?
Kimberly and Peter, Hannah.
Hannah, okay.
And we wanted to talk about the sandboxes.
What's your address?
310 Grand Magnolia Avenue.
Okay.
So we're in North Village. We've observed cat poop, unfortunately, mold, bees building nests in the sandboxes. Just disgusting situations in the sandboxes. We've had a friend who has had a daughter with a larval infection from sand. There's many health risks associated with uncovered sandboxes. Essentially what we're asking for is for them to be removed and replaced with something else, or even just covered with AstroTurf.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. Was that easy? Yep. That's it.
I'm Chris Hurdle, 1400 Celebration Ave, Unit 101. First, after hitting an early, I want to thank all of you for your time volunteering. I realize it's a very complicated job, and it isn't paid at all, you know, and I know that I definitely test people's patience myself from time to time, you know, and you all are very tolerant and understanding, and I'm very thankful for that, you know. And, my issue also is that I never was a fan of the actual sand at all. I have a 3-year-old daughter, and her playing in the sand is just sort of a mess anyway. She gets sand everywhere. It's horrible, you know. We've always avoided the playground with sand over on the lawn meadow. You know, we avoided the sand boxes. I assume that cats, you know, occasionally use them for litter boxes. But after seeing these numerous pictures and hearing about the health issues, I actually see it more of a safety issue now than a nuisance. And the issue with that too is what worries me as a homeowner is that now that CROA is aware of the situation, now I'm actually worried about possible liability issues. Because before, when a child got sick, I don't feel that CROA was probably aware of it. But now that we're definitely aware of it, if someone's hurt or injured, you know, then I can only imagine how much the lawsuits are going to be. You know, I, for one, really don't want to see my dues go up any higher. I already paid multiple HOAs being in the condo and arson park as it is, you know, and I really don't want to have to pay any more for any liability issues. And since I'm here, I just have one more quick issue. I saw on the agenda that there would be a discussion on the porta potties at Lakeside Park, you know, and I agree they are an eyesore, you know what. I do, however, love the farmer's market. We buy all our produce. Good benefit for town, you know what. And in a perfect world, I would love to have a real restroom for them and everything, but I'm very skeptical of opening our restrooms that are attached to the swimming pool to the general public. I can see people sneaking in and using the pool, as well as one more issue. You know, it could also be a breeding ground for sex offenders as well. I find that one of the great benefits of us having locked restrooms is that, you know, the average Joe can't walk in there, you know, so we don't have to be as careful with children, I feel, you know, but once it becomes a public restroom, then that might open us up to crime and stuff, you know, and we're all aware that about the issue with the child being followed over at Lakeside Park and how our lifeguards helped out there and saved the day. But I'd be really afraid about someone following one of our. So that's what was on my mind, and I'm really grateful for everybody's work. But thank you.
Thank you for your time. Appreciate it. And yeah, we do have that on our discussion for later, the porta potties, and maybe we'll move it up or something like that. So if you wanted to do it, so you can be here. Anybody else? Homeowner comments? This is your opportunity. Yeah. Hi.
Hi, my name is Melissa Roman. I live in 1207 Green Square in Artisan Park. And this is Prue. This is my 4-year-old daughter. I also have a son that's 1-year-old. I wanted to address the sandboxes and also Long Meadow Park. We've actually been to Long Meadow Park, and while we were there one day, she ended up with ringworms. And so we had to treat it for over a month. You remember that, Monica? Yeah, for a long time. Where did you get it? In your tushy? Yeah, and so we haven't gone back since then. We've actually seen, you know, feces there and stuff, so it's definitely not that something to change. So
okay.
We're hoping for it.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
It.
Hello, I'm Sylvia Ju. I live on 1113 Rush Court. I'm here for the same issue, the sandbox. And it's just like very dirty. And I don't know what you feel on that. Are you guys going to give the feedback?
I think what we were going to do is, we didn't have it on the agenda. It was going to be addressed at the management. Our manager, Steve Waring, executive director, he usually does a report. Mm-hmm. And he, based on the feedback and discussions with the board, he's put together some information and some recommendations and just discussion. That was going to be during that time. What I'm going to probably ask the board to do when you guys are finished is to see if we can put that to the front of the meeting a little bit, so you guys don't have to be gone for that. But anyway, so we'll wait until we get to that point.
Okay. Okay, I will wait. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Angie Peacock, 1011 Falling Leaf Street over in East. I just wanted to bring up the sandbox issue again. I have a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old, and the last time we were at North Village, completely and totally supervised, both of my children wandered over to the sandbox. I was standing right there, and as they put their feet and their hands into the sandbox, they uncovered some cat litter. So my 2-year-old ended up with cat litter in her hand. Had I not been standing right next to her, it could have gone in her mouth, it could have gone in her hair, anywhere on her body. Totally and completely supervised, but it is an issue. We've seen cats there before, and I've tried to keep my children away from the sandboxes, but I feel like this is a sanitary issue that does need to be addressed. And then to bring up the long meadow sand, my girls are very sensitive skin, and we feel like there's been, numerous almost like sand flea bites or stuff that we've come out from playing at that park. We've come home with bites and yuck, and so we've tried to stay away from those two parks. And one of the reasons that we love living in Celebration and love being here is the ability to attend these parks, and we recognize and appreciate the privacy of these parks. But it's frustrating when we're not able to use the parks because of the sand.
Okay. Thank you very much.
For the same thing. So just want to say that if you need help, we are here. So also to help you. That's it. So you know already what is happening.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Laura Desjans and I live at 1021 Banksboro Street. I also have a 4-year-old and a 5-year-old, and they love the playground. So when we're in North Village, I definitely tell them to not get into the sand, just like the other parents, but sometimes it's hard to keep them away from the sand when their kids are in there. And then regarding the long meadows, I've completely stopped going since my friend Holly, her daughter, has had a larva infection in her diaper area. Friends, just completely stopped going, but I still see kids going there, after school, and most likely their parents aren't, aware of the situation. So, on the one hand, I would love to go back to that park and use it because it's an awesome park, and my kids loved it, and we used to go up until that situation. But right now we're not, so if it was changed to turf, it would be wonderful. And also, I'm doing this because I don't want, those children that are going every day to just get sick, And also I'm doing it for CROA because I don't want CROA to be, sued by parents that are really angry, So I'm really looking forward to finding out what are your long-term solutions. I know that you guys have already put a tarp and enclosed the 2 sandboxes at the North Village, which I'm so grateful for because it's really awesome that the kids are kept away from those sandboxes. I think it's great. And I'm curious to know, what you guys are proposing for the long term. My recommendation would be just to get rid of them and just add something else that the kids would love to play with. And for long meadows, my recommendation would be just to remove the sand and just make it sanitary for those kids, I realize that some people say that it's still busy after school, but it's probably just because it's the one that's next to the school. And I know that all the moms that usually go to the park, like on a daily basis, they will not go to that park because they know, the ones that chat about it. So anyways, well, thank you so much for your attention on this situation. I appreciate all the hard work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other homeowner comment?
Actually here for the same reason. My name's Edward Davis, and I'm at 219 Northport Place in North Village.
What's the first name again?
Edward.
Edward Davis.
It's called Eddie.
Okay,
Eddie's
Eddie.
mine. And really the same sort of concerns that everyone else had on here. I think the only thing that's somewhat different, I haven't been here long enough, is my wife's a veterinarian she's been doing it for quite a while. And she also handles the wild animals that would typically end up putting their feces in those sand pits. And so she listed a range of those animals as well as the diseases that they carry, along with recommendations by the CDC that maybe you guys could look at in making your decision about it.
Okay. Thank you.
I just have one question, if that works. I'm a dog person, I apologize, I don't know as much about cats, but if the sand was replaced with the sand?
I think cats are attracted to things that are like a litter box. So anything that's that sand sort of material is going to attract them to.
So mulch would have the same effect, kind of? It would be.
It wouldn't really have the same effect because they don't. It's not the. If anyone has cats, they're going to dig in that sort of sand whenever they see that.
Okay. What about like raccoons or other animals?
Yeah. So she's put down in here cats, raccoons, dogs, opossums. Really, any sort of wild animal is going to use that as an area to put their feces in.
But they don't use other surfaces like grass or?
They do, but you're typically going to find that cats are going to want to go to areas where there is a place for them to dig. Like
I mean, I guess, what about the grassy areas in the park? I mean, what do we do about
I think in answer to your question, I don't know for sure. My wife's really the veterinarian, so I don't really have the correct answer for is a cat going to use grass, but typically a cat's going to use a sand sort of material to defecate in. And it's the same with the other animals that you put on here, raccoons and opossums as well.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Did you have something to add?
Yeah.
Would you come up to the microphone, please? Both of you?
Yes, I understand what you're trying to suggest. And so basically what happens is that any other animal that would use any other surface, like with rain or whatnot, that'll be washed away and it won't actually be, kept in and, mold creating and such, which sand does do that. So in grass or mulch, it'll be, washed away or seeped into the ground into the actual dirt.
Right.
And
so like grass would be better. What I'm concerned about is if we replace the sand with another artificial surface, where does it seep to? Like how would it?
I'm sorry?
Like if you replace the sand with the rubbery playground surface, where would that go? Like,
it would actually get washed away, like for instance, either with rain or whatnot, or evaporate. It wouldn't actually create, like for instance, mold and stuff like the sand does. So, but it's, I guess, a different kind of material matter. So, okay.
Yes, I need to go to the microphone.
Thank you.
I have a lot of articles, like if there's more research that people need. This one is from CNN. It's entitled, "Is Cat Poop Dangerous?" Their ultimate conclusion is, yes, it definitely is. In response to your question, are cats going to come and poop on the artificial turf? No, I think that we've all observed that there isn't cat poop on the artificial turf. And right here in this article it says cats selectively relieve themselves in areas of loose soil or sand. So,
thank you.
Thanks.
They're peeing on bushes.
Hold on. Okay. Wait till you get to the microphone.
Eileen Barr, 1138 Mosaic. What happens, Debbie, is that, and it's the same reason that they tell pregnant women not to use a litter box, not to clean a litter box, but it's not, okay, this is great, this is almost my oops from last time. It's not the fresh feces. And as it starts to disintegrate, you won't see a feces anymore, but the larva will stay in the sand. And that's, I believe, also the same with dog feces. Has a slightly, it's not a toxoplasmosis, but it's an equal kind of, it's a disease that can, it's a larva that can cause blindness and various other sort of very bad things. So, my husband is a specialist in intensive care medicine, so my kids were never allowed to go in a sandbox. And yes, you have a point. First of all, if a dog or animal poops on a solid surface, you're going to see it, and it can be removed. And I assume with maintenance, we simply get it removed, or it gets taken away. If you're a person who lets your child actually get in the soil, put the soil in their mouth,
Right.
But if you're like, I think most parents who let their kids play on the soil or just sort of, play, and you're not really in the grass, it's much less likely that you're going to become exposed to something. maybe else because I wanted to say something while I'm up here, also about, not about sandboxes as much, but because of this issue and some other things that have come up. I've taken a look at, because one of the things that kept coming up was use another playground. So I went and I looked at the playgrounds, you know, and the playground situation is very interesting because there are, first of all, I think we're a little deficient on playgrounds, and it's easy to say use another playground, but that takes out both playgrounds in North Village. It takes out Long Meadow. Lakeside has a problem. I don't know. We actually used to play, my granddaughter, we used to use the old Lakeside playground, which was a very nice little playground. And then they opened the new one, and I still remember the first day and then you're really left with the top lot in East Village and the one by Heritage Hall. They're both really lovely playgrounds, but they're it. I mean, that's all. That's the availability. It's not huge, and particularly the playground by Heritage Hall is a very, very busy playground. Because my point is that if you go below like Waterside, that's it. I mean, the south part of Celebration is really missing a playground. Above that, there's like 3 to 4 playgrounds, depending on how you look at North Village. Below it, it's the playground at Heritage Hall, and it's the little top lot for everybody. So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We had a response. We had a response from Town Hall saying that the Long Meadows sand had been raked and the debris were removed on a daily basis, which is better than it used to be. But raking it really doesn't remove all those parasites. As Eileen said, you know, it's in the fishes and then it goes in the sand. So even if there is no debris, you don't see anything, it's still in there, you know. And raking it isn't going to do anything. And that's the reason why the landscape structure, which is one of the leading manufacturers of playgrounds, told me that they completely moved away from sand surfacing because of that issue of the parasites. And also, they said that they move towards the AstroTurf. And I just feel that the sand is something of the past, you know. So if we could enclose that Long Meadows park in such a way that animals could not get in, it would be wonderful, but I don't think it's possible. So I just feel that the most realistic option is really to just get rid of it. Yeah, thank you.
I would say that we did read your letter that you sent, or that the manufacturer, equipment manufacturer wrote, but one of the things that he did say was that he doesn't use that surface anymore. But me reading between the lines is, one of the reasons why he doesn't use that surface anymore, because if you were to build a park today, it's not rated in terms of fall. You know, if somebody were to fall down, in terms of, there's a rating in terms of cushioning, for cushioning the fall. So it's not recommended that they would use sand today. Forget you got another issue, but then the other issue is it's probably not the industry standard for when somebody falls. So they're using other things such as artificial turf or mulch or something like that, or rubber mulch. So that's probably the reason why they don't recommend it. So if you were to build one today, they wouldn't be putting sand in.
Yeah, so that's entirely guesswork.
No, that's not guesswork. I've actually been. This is not a surprise.
That's what you said. That was.
I'm guessing what he said. Okay. But I'm telling you though, in my experience of building these type of things, which I do build amenities in my business, nobody would really put sand in today. It's not like, you know what I mean? You would probably use some other surface for kind of stuff. You wouldn't, not many places are using sand as much. You know, back in the day they used sand a lot more. It's not as readily being used in most places. So. Sorry. Yeah, we're saying the same thing over and over. I just want to make sure we get enough people, and I want to make sure we get to your point a little bit in terms of the meeting. Is there any other homeowner comment related to this or not? Sure, come on up. You were trying to pace it to where you got all of them, yep.
Hi, my name is Leonard Tim, 411 Campus Street. I actually like the sand in Long Meadow, and I've been a resident for 18 and a half years. It's been there for 18 and a half years. The residents I know that live around Long Meadow like the sand there. Several of them have posted on the front porch defending the sand on Long Meadow. North Village, I really don't care about. Okay, it's too far to go from where I live. I guess what I'm saying is I'm not defending the sand because I haven't seen it up there either. Probably not care about was the incorrect word. As far as all the diseases that have allegedly been caught through the sand down here, if you go and you look up ringworm, the medical sites will say between 10 and 20% of people in the U.S. will get ringworm sometime in their lifetime. They must play in sand a lot. It also goes on to say things like people-to-people transmission, towels transmit, everything can transmit ringworm. The parasite that was posted about on the website, also on the front porch, I looked that up and I don't have it. I did re-look it up here because I didn't have time to go through and do that, but from memory, that particular parasite, if you do nothing, the human is not a host for it. As long as there's no infection, it can get in there. It will live about 6 to 8 weeks, and then it dies on its own. The parasite that was listed on the front porch, I can't remember the...
Talking about toxoplasmosis?
No, this was a parasite listed in the
larvae?
This is not toxoplasmosis. Toxoplasmosis is carried by cats, and there's warnings against it, especially for pregnant women, et cetera, having cats. But I think there's a couple of things going on. Number one, if you leave sand in Long Meadow, all these people know about possible dangers there, so you're not actually exposing them to anything that they're not warned about that their kids could, quote, potentially get. We have no warnings like that at beaches throughout the U.S. Any sand going into lakes that we have all through Central Florida, no warnings. I think we would have a hard time proving an alleged connection to that, number one. If you're just looking at it from a tort standpoint. And I'm not a lawyer, but I did sleep in a Holiday Inn last week. So that's pretty much it. I'm in favor of the sand in Long Meadow, and many of my neighbors who I have spoken to recently are also, and they have posted on the front porch, some of them.
Thank you. Any further homeowner comments? Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Is this, wait, hold on, is this to rebut what he says? You don't, no, it's okay, yeah. I definitely, we all heard what you said. I don't think, because we could have this discussion for an hour going back and forth. It's homeowner comments. If it's something new, then yeah.
I, of course, heard a 14-hour celebration at 101 again. I've been really happy hearing about how we have all sorts of new parks heading up and a dog park and everything, you know. And what worries me, though, is that I've noticed that we don't seem to have enough park monitors who are on. I had an issue one day, and it happened about 1 o'clock. And I called town hall, and they told me that the park monitor comes on at 2 o'clock. So what worries me is that if we're going to have these parks, and now we're going to add a dog park, which looks beautiful and big and everything, it'll be actually 2 dog parks, and that's great. But I'm afraid we won't be able to have any monitors who are actually policing it, you know what? And I'm really skeptical about us building any new parks if we're not able to actually safeguard what we already have. So when we're figuring out how much the dog park will cost, if we're also able to probably try to figure out how to make sure we're able to afford to have a park monitor on during those hours. You know, so when we plan it out, judges really want to make sure that we build in security as well, and not just that's usually just the actual building cost to it. So,
yeah, I think there's definitely an operational component that we have to take into account. So that's true. Okay, any other homeowner comment? Okay. To verify the meeting was properly noticed?
It was, yes.
Okay, and we definitely have a quorum. What we don't do, I mean, certainly, what we used to do is introduce ourselves and have the name on here, but we have David Earls, Jack McLaughlin, Lee Moore, Vanessa Winterdown. I'm reading everybody's name, but yours. Diana Vassallo, and we have over there Debbie McDonald. And you guys introduce yourselves for us because you have somebody, Susan.
You go first.
I'm Susan Kearns, and I am your new community manager. Lori Rockwell was promoted to another CCMC property, and I'm looking forward to working with you.
And I'm Steve Waring. I'm your executive director for Town Hall.
Okay. Let's do pledge of allegiance.
Can I ask Jessica? I don't want to mispronounce her last name. Inadi.
Oh yeah,
from the World Food Chain.
Yeah. Let's do it right after the pledge of allegiance.
I saw it.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so the first order of business is, so we'll first work on the agenda. We'll make sure we get you in right now. So first, if I'd like to see if we can have a motion to adopt the agenda, but we might want to make some changes first. Jessica from the World Food Championship talk, we could do that right away. And then my other recommendation is to have Steve do his management report. Instead of D, we swap D and E. And then have them do that sooner, so if anybody wants to leave, you know, they can.
Swap D and E?
D and F.
D and F, sorry. Who's that?
And if you'd like, I can just do the sand part and then come back to the rest of it.
Yeah, that'd be great. Okay. And do I have a motion then?
So moved.
Okay. And second. So we have a motion, a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All those opposed? Okay. Seeing that. All right, Jessica, you mind coming up and introducing yourself?
Hi, I'm Jessica Iannotti.
Thank you.
It's good.
I'm with the World Food Championships, where the world's largest food competition coming to Celebration, Florida. I know that I did miss last month's. My son had an ear infection, so I apologize. Anyways, right now we're working with the security. I know that's in the sheriff's right now. I actually got in contact with Sheriff Jerry, the local celebration sheriff, and I talked with Experience Kissimmee, and they agreed 100% that we needed to involve him with the amounts to get for celebration and the areas he thinks is going to be best for us. So we're looking at our consumer activation days, of course, are mostly Thursday, Friday, Saturdays, and Sunday. So we're looking at anywhere from 10 to 15 security officers, or no, sheriff's department, and we will have security officers with the group that Lexan uses that are familiar with celebration and how it works. So we are going through them right now. We're kind of trying to right now finalize with the EMTs and the sheriff's department. So hopefully that answered your question. Is that a good number?
What hours would that cover?
We're going to have a couple, like mostly the biggest is going to be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, because those are all the consumer activations. We're talking from probably about 10 to about 8, 9 o'clock.
10 a.m. to 9?
Yeah, it's going to be either between 10 or 12 because most of the consumer activations once again starts at 11. So that we're leaving that up to them. So it's between, like I said, 10 and 12. The event itself ends at 6, but we do have awards till 8 o'clock. So we're trying to get the sheriffs to at least be there to 9 or 10 o'clock to get the park and ride and everything going. So they're under the understanding, even though if they're supposed to be out there by 8 or 9 and there's still people, they will stay and they'll just send us the bill for those extra hours. So they're not going to leave. We did have a discussion. Since this is the first time we're having this event here, it's very hard for us to kind of really determine the push comes to shove, how many people are going to come in and out at the same time. So we also, next month will be the first drawing for Celebration residents. We will be giving out 2 tickets to one of the activation events, and then in October we'll be giving 2 more tickets. So, is there any questions for me?
Questions? So are you guys using the park or not?
We have decided this year we're not going to use the park for, there was just a lot of residents that, on the board that didn't know if they wanted it, didn't know if it was good, so we decided this year we just wanted to do the events, kind of showcase so you guys want to come out, see what it's kind of about, the overall what we're looking at doing, and then following maybe next year to start discussing that. At the same time, we still didn't want to take away, the celebration, the discounted prices for the celebration residents, the celebration pasta winner that's coming to compete at World's Food Championship. I'm sure you all saw the article. So we didn't want to take away from everybody, even though we just made that decision. It just seems, not everybody was on board quite yet.
Just so you know that I don't think anyone was opposed to it. We just asked for some security as far as deposits, and we wanted some people there. There wasn't an opposition. It was just we wanted some measures to make sure that the residence area was protected.
No, we just, for us, the area, what it was used mostly for was going to be a free activation for a family fun day, where it was like a family cooking experience. I know, and it's fun. Watched a couple of the presentations that Jeff Chase and them did, and I was I think Jeff Chase is a great guy, I love him. What this area was supposed to be about was a little different than what we were actually planning on it. So we've changed the family fun day to Sunday, just one day, to kind of showcase, and we didn't want to overdo things and make it too crazy and scare all the residents away. So we figured we would just kind of start off with the different nonprofits. We are using the Celebration Foundation. They are one of our nonprofits we have used this year. And we're also using Give Kids the World. We're doing a mini Mac down in honor for them to help raise money on Sunday, so it's another family fun activity. So everyone bring their families out on Sunday. You get to meet the Love Chef.
Sunday the 8th?
Yes, Sunday is going to be strictly, we're taking the World's Cocktail Experience out. We'll be completely out on Saturday night. So the whole event is going to be a lot of kids cooking, kids fun. There's going to be a lot of health seminars we're going to kind of do, pass out information for the parents and the kids, with healthy items for kids to eat after school that they can make at home for themselves, dishes for the families to cook together. So Sunday is kind of just strictly driven family, barbecue, fun. So no alcohol unless you go to VIF. So any questions?
What days were those again, please?
For Family Fun Day, it's just
the dates.
the event is going to be November 3rd, all the way to November 10th, but November 9th will be a breakdown. But the activations for all the sponsors, the free tasting village, the free cooking classes, the free mixology classes are going to be from Thursday, Friday, Saturdays, and Sundays. So we just decided we didn't want to do 7 days of activations. I'm thankful for that.
And you're, I guess, working with Celebration News. We're going to start putting things in, kind of.
Yeah, we've been doing the Friday flash. I try to stay away from the front porch. No offense.
You're not saying anything we don't all agree with.
Yes. No. I'm personally here quite often. And I saw you last week at the wonderful CCDD meeting. That was fun. So, I'm here all the time in Starbucks. I've been in Starbucks probably about 3 or 4 days a week here in town. I've been working a lot with, we've given a lot of the clubs free space at World Food Championships to promote their upcoming events. I know that there's the Christmas run. The holiday one, we're going to be giving them a space to promote the events for the holiday homes. They're going to come in with them too, and we're going to help promote all the the end of November, December events you guys are going to be having. So we're trying to really partner with the community here. I know the Rotary Club, I believe, is getting a spot. They've asked for one, so we gave them all spots free of charge. So all we've asked is, do something fun, pass out, do sugar cookies for the kids, something. So they've all agreed. So they're pretty excited about doing that. So overall, it's almost over.
Question. You're the marketing person?
No, I'm everything.
You're everything.
I do operational logistics, volunteer judges, qualifiers, partnerships. So.
The posters I've seen in Starbucks to say.
Will work for food?
No, it will work for food, and then it says celebration in the heart of Kissimmee.
Mm-hmm. So there was, with that, I know that's been a big issue, especially on the front porch with that. You'll see on the A-frames that are in all the restaurants that are starting to put up, it says celebration. So there was a whole marketing point to this, because when we were in Vegas, we were there for 3 years, our partners were there, everybody knew us from Vegas. So as we kind of started moving to Florida, when we were in Vegas, we announced Florida. We're moving the event to Florida. And then slowly it became Central Florida. Then it became Osceola County, outside of Orlando. Then it became Kissimmee, and now then it became Kissimmee, a celebration in the heart of Kissimmee, and now it's being promoted as celebration. We slowly started doing it because when we did a review for kind of a blind of different people, and people said, "What's celebration?" So at a marketing level, we were too scared if we just threw out celebration, people would be like, what is celebration? So slowly as we went down, so it was kind of a soft, so if you go in there, we have A-frames at all the, that are coming in now. I just started dropping them off last week. They do say Celebration Florida on there. I can go grab you a copy of them. My car is filled with them.
No, it's fine. I just have never seen a reference in the heart of Kissimmee.
Well, and the other thing too is, and we do get that a lot, is our main partner that brought us here is Experience Kissimmee. And Experience Kissimmee understood we had to have Experience Kissimmee's. Even at the event, it will be World Food Championships Experience Kissimmee partners. But on a lot of the information you're going to start seeing now, it says celebration. It says Celebration Florida. It's getting bigger and bigger. Certain things we're not going to take, we'll work for food in the heart of Kissimmee. That's a volunteer form. But more of the promotional marketing when we are taking these materials to different local hotels around on 192, they all say Celebration Florida. So like I said, it's kind of went from Florida, slowly came down. We didn't want to really do that at first, but when we did our focus group, it was pretty much 98% of people said we're Celebration.
Wow.
Yes, and they were like, no. They said, it's the town at Disney World. But, oh, yeah. They know it as the Disney World town.
Yeah, you forgot that tagline.
Yeah, so apparently we should maybe say Celebration, the Disney World town. Then
I would say I told you so, but I won't say that.
What?
That whole,
The Disney World town?
No, the whole thing about celebration, using celebration as opposed to, Kissimmee. Because at the end of the day, Experience Kissimmee is a Osceola County group. It's not really the city of Kissimmee. It's Osceola County. Mm-hmm. Just because they thought Kissimmee was a wider name, bigger name, at some point it may not be. Maybe actually Celebration might be more well known than Kissimmee.
And we've had this talk back and forth between Lexon and Experience Kissimmee, and months ago, and we agreed that Celebration has fought to separate themselves from Kissimmee to Celebration. I'm not saying anything's wrong with Kissimmee, but Celebration has fought for your guys' name. You guys are fighting for your marketing. You guys are fighting for your label. This is Celebration. We're not Kissimmee. We're part of Kissimmee, but this is our town. So we understood that. Mike Nunez was, residents are freaking out, that this is the Celebration Heart of Kissimmee. Heart of Kissimmee is on Orange Blossom Road. I have no idea where that is, but apparently it's a big road here. So just so you guys know, it was a marketing strategy for international, all of our big competitors that are coming outside from different countries and outside of the United States. We're at 28% international teams coming in. So be excited. Lots of jet.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Appreciate it. Look forward to hearing it as we get further along. Okay, can I get an approval to adopt the minutes from last meeting?
So moved.
Second from somebody? Okay. All right. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. All right, we're going to jump to Steve real quickly to go through the management report, i.e. talk about sand.
Okay. Well, one of the first things I did was I reached out through FRPA, Florida Recreation Parks Association, just to ask some best practices from other directors and specifically some other certified parks and recreation professionals on what they're doing with sand and has anybody removed sand. And what I found from the handful of people that I got responses from is that, as Lee mentioned, sand, while it is a safe surface and it is a surface that's acceptable, it's not really a preferred surface anymore. Through technology and the cost going down for synthetic turf, more and more people or agencies are going away from sand and they're going towards a synthetic type turf product. So with that said, it is an acceptable play surface and it is still allowed as through the testing and the HIC testing that you mentioned. But there are some things that you have to do to make sure that it's action. Fortunately, we don't have the freezing weather here that they do up north because that would cause compaction also. So if you're going to continue to have sand as a play surface, you have to maintain it. So we actually looked at our sand in 3 different levels. One would be the North Village Common sandboxes. And we looked up best practices for maintaining. We did a lot of research. And a lot of research that was provided to us by the residents is very good research. I mean, it shows a lot of very good information. I ran across that same information while doing my research. And part of that is that you need to cover the sandboxes. So one of the temporary solutions that we've done is to put some tarps to cover it. Along with covering comes some obstacles or some challenges that you're going to have to work through. We have the staffing level in the morning to go look to make sure they're covered. Throughout the day with the park monitors, maintenance staff can go by and look, but it's going to really be up to the residents to put the cover back on when it's not used, because animals can come at any point in time and utilize the sandbox. So if an animal does use the sandbox, there are best practices for that also. Usually a solid waste would require a foot around it in all directions to remove it and then replace that sand. Any loose stools would require the entire sandbox to be removed and replaced with new fresh sand. So we put together some cost to see what it would cost if we were to maintain with best practices, and we put together some checklists of what we're going to need to do if the sandboxes remain. So if you were to look at the North Village Common sandboxes, we're looking at anywhere between $2,000 and $3,000 annually for what we would estimate as animal waste hazardous conditions. And it's just an estimate. It's the best guess that we can have. If we have more animal waste in there, we're just going to require more maintenance for it. We would need some sort of signage on the sand areas to ask residents to please put the sandbox cover back on. And it would have to be a safe sandbox cover. It can't be something that a child could play in and get hurt by. So we need to work through that solution. I believe we've identified some covers that are approximately $300, $400 a piece. So we run into another challenge of one of our sandboxes is actually okay to just buy a cover and cover it. The other sandbox has a shade structure pull right through the middle of it, so it will require a customized cover. At this time, that sandbox is closed because we had some washout of the sand. So instead of replacing it, we just held off so we could have this conversation. But the other sandbox, and Todd's here, I believe we have put a tarp cover as of yesterday afternoon today, and we can try that for a little while and see if that best practice will work, along with the maintaining, raking, removing any debris, any sticks, leaves, those types of things. But if we get, the other thing, if we don't see a cat go in there, we have to rely on a resident to send it to us or cell service to let us know that we have this. And then we would have to go out there and maintain it, take care of it, remove what needs to be taken care of. The other areas that we looked at then would be the safety service material. And we looked at more of a cost comparison of what it would cost to just keep, like I said, what is an acceptable sand play area, surface area. It's not really considered a play area, but again, how do you keep children from playing in sand if it's all over the playground? It's almost impossible to do that. But we did look at safety servicing material. and it's going to be approximately $5,000 a year if we were to maintain that sand and replace annually, which is a recommended best practice.
Is that for each park, Steve?
Just for Long Meadow, just for the surfacing there.
So we're not talking about sandbox anymore?
I'm sorry, I moved from the sandboxes to the surfacing at Long Meadow, yes.
Okay. Long Meadow
particularly because it's a majority of that surface is sand.
Sure. Okay.
So about $5,000 estimate for maintaining and replacing that sand.
As opposed to the $3,500 for the sandboxes.
Yeah, yes, for the sandboxes.
Okay.
We also looked at what it would cost for mulch. It's a little bit less. It's about $3,050, but that's every 2.5 years you look at replacing your mulch. Sometimes you have to spruce it up to add to make sure that you still have, again, compaction and you still have the fall zone to where it needs to be. We also looked at board in place. It's about $46,000. It's more of a rubberized material. There's a board in place already there. And then we looked at synthetic turf, and it's approximately $58,000 to put in synthetic
So the
turf.
previous figure was at $46,000?
$46,000 for mulch. So if you were to look at a cost recovery for that, I think it's close to 10, 11 years for synthetic to recover that cost, as opposed to doing the mulch or
the North Village?
There's minimal turf left over, not enough to do that whole playground. We may be able to patch some pieces there.
Well, what about for the sandboxes?
We do have, I believe, have enough to cover if we were to cover any of the sandboxes.
Then the next question, because now it's just a green turf area, is there another type play object that we could put in that area?
I think there's numerous options there. I mean, it has a shade structure there. It would be a great area for a picnic table.
I'm looking more for an activity for kids.
Sure, and we could talk to, I mean, I know the folks at Landscape Structures very well through FRPA, so the same guy, Nathan Allman, who Laurel spoke with, we could contact them, we could get some quotes, we could get some suggestions.
Now, my next question. In North Village, we have the volleyball courts.
Yes, that's my third surface area.
Go through that
volleyball courts.
Have you gotten there yet? I mean,
that's first. Yes, I'm done with the first two. If you guys are okay, I'll move on to the volleyball courts.
Go ahead. Any questions on the first two before we move on? Okay.
So we're looking at sand at about 6-inch depth. It's about $40 per ton. So it's about, for the two courts, it's almost $10,000 to replenish that sand. Annual maintenance is about $2,000 a year. If you were to remove all the sand.
We
did not see.
Replace it with more sand?
No, yeah, to take out the sand and put in new sand if you had to do that. We did not see recommendations for replacement of sand on volleyball courts as much as we saw just the maintenance, the raking, those types of things. It's not necessarily a children's play surface, and it's not a play structure that's designed for children to go in and interact and support volleyball.
Picking their hand, putting it in their mouth.
Well, and if you play hard, you know that you can have some in your mouth quite a bit. So
you take that chance, isn't it?
Well, and I think that there's always a risk when you're out in the public of diseases and germs and those types of things. But we just go by best practices on how you maintain this stuff. And I would agree, if you're going to have the sandboxes, it would be recommended that you maintain them at those best practices.
Well, I think it's a given now, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's part of what we started, right? When we got the research, we said, let's implement these best practices.
And just a question on the tarps. Are they just being laid across the sandbox? There's a
bungee on the bottom side of it.
Okay.
And then we secured it to the back of the sandbox area. And ideally what you would do then is roll it up. I think we have something to secure it on top of it. So you would roll it up and put it back behind the sandbox, and then when you're done, you have to put it back onto the sandbox. My concern is I don't want something that a child could go under and then be trapped underneath in the sandbox. So I want to try to make sure.
Well, when you have a pool, the pool manufacturer will sell you something that covers a pool, or lots of companies sell safety surfaces for pools.
Right.
So it prevents what you're talking about with locks. It doesn't sound like there is something we're talking about for these sandboxes. We have to create something, which makes it a difficult thing and not a perfect situation for us to, what it looks like, probably aesthetically, celebration, what a resident has to do, and that kind of stuff. It sounds like it's not a perfect situation or a good situation, really. Okay.
So that's the report on the sandboxes and sand play surface areas.
Okay, so
we add this to a workshop next month.
I think that's probably a valid thing to add to the workshop for sure. It's something that we probably should discuss for a meeting discussed, yeah.
You can't really proceed with anything now.
Well, it's not on, I mean, for you in the audience, this wasn't on an agenda to actually do anything with, an action item. It was great, thanks for bringing this up to our attention. We've changed our best practices in the community based on this, which I think, I mean, most of us just turns 13 in a couple days, and 16, and we played at every surface in town, so I totally understand. And a lot of it is, people, just because we played with it before doesn't mean we want to do it again. Again, my dad would always say, I grew up, I didn't have seat belts, and I was in the back of a pickup truck. Not like I want my kids to do that, you know what I mean? So at the end of the day, I think you bring good points. We probably work doing best practices. I mean, I've seen it washed out, I've seen it green, moldy, and that kind of stuff. It's going to cost us some money to do it, and maybe there's better alternatives. So we'll put it in an agenda for a workshop.
Can I make a recommendation to get us there?
Yes.
To go ahead and leave the sandbox that's closed for now.
Sure.
And then just continue monitoring what it takes to keep the other one covered throughout the day.
Mm-hmm. So by the time we get to our workshop, you'll have more info.
Make sure we notice it to the rest of the public to address it.
Sure, we'll put it out on the front porch and make sure we communicate.
Any comments before we move on? Well, thank you for doing the work for us.
Sure.
Thank you guys for bringing it to our attention. And we're going to move on with the meeting, so if
you're welcome.
If this is the only reason we have these, so thank you.
Oh no, I can't leave. They gotta stay.
No, that's true. Okay, so we're going to jump back to our meeting agenda, to D, committee reports. We have ARC, no meeting, no discussions. We did have ARC covenants before here, but is there committee covenants discussions?
Here, covenants committee.
Come on up.
Good evening. We had a good workshop covering that state law that requires now the fining process to be changed. We just want to let residents know that the fine letters from now on will be coming from the board and not from the covenants committee. So look for that change. And then once the fines are assessed from the board, by the board, then any review of those fines will then afterwards come to the covenants committee if they so choose.
No, not so choose. There will be hearing.
Is it automatic?
Absolutely.
Okay, then it's going to be automatic. Then we'll hear them all.
Unless they choose to just pay the fine and move on. I mean, there may be scenarios where.
Yeah, some will. Yeah, exactly.
It's only for the appeals process.
Once a month, Covenants Committee, we've decided to inform the public, the residents actually, of things in the design guidelines that they should start paying attention to. This month, we want to address the issues of mulch and what's allowed and what isn't allowed, to start maybe looking at their planting beds around their borders, their lawn borders between the beds, the planting beds, and the lawn itself. With the rains and everything, the mulch is starting to wash away. It's obviously not washing from my neighbors into mine, it's washing out of mine elsewhere. So look at the mulch, make sure that we ask that 2 inches, according to the design guidelines, which are online, 2 inches of mulch, and try to keep it at that, not get too high, which causes it to wash away, and not get too low where you have bare ground. Things that are not allowed are stones, lava rock, gravel, rubber, vinyl, plastic, concrete rubble, and timber, and also no red mulch is allowed in celebration. Another option is pine needles. You can buy pine needles twice a month, or I'm sorry, twice a year from the Garden Celebration Garden Club, spring and fall. And we kind of ask that people shy away from the cypress mulch because that causes the deforestation of the cypress trees, because that's all they really do is they cut them down and they shred them up for mulch. So that's it for the guidelines.
Thank you very much. Do we have Rec?
Martin Bronson?
Good evening, I'm Martin Brown, I'm the Parks and Recreation Manager. We did a Parks and Recreation Committee on August 12th at 5:30. Some of the stuff that we discussed was the focus group survey. We have 227 responses. About 41% said that they would like to participate in a focus group, which I think is really cool.
Wait, so people that are responding, only 47% or whatever, say they want to be in a focus group responding?
Correct. They have the option on the survey to put their name, address, and phone number, and if they would like to be contacted to be in a focus group.
Okay.
But even if you don't want to be in a focus group, we still wanted to hear your feedback and your opinion, so we still put that on there. We are currently looking at some off-site outings and group adventures for just anybody resident wanting to go outside celebration. We talked about NASA, Kennedy Space Center, Downtown Disney, the Orlando Eye, Dr. Phillips Center, some art museums, and we're looking into setting up some excursions. We also spoke about Fall Festival, starting planning for that. Got a band booked, a bluegrass band. We spoke about porch and yard sale. Applications will be available September 1st. They are in the paper and they'll also be available at the front desk at 851. And we also spoke about Founders Day.
Would you like to update them on Good Neighbor Day?
Sure. No, I'll do it. Good Neighbor Day is, I believe, September 28th. And we are going to be serving hot dogs and drinks right out here on the soccer fields after school for anybody who'd like to stop by and grab a pizza, or I'm sorry, a hot dog and something to drink. And we'll also have a special guest costume jumping around out there. That should be pretty fun.
When is it? September what?
September 28th.
Monday.
Yes.
Is there a price attached to this?
Nope, this is, it's going to be free for residents, and you will come up
Is
and...
Lee going to try and eat 69 hot dogs?
The Kobayatsu town.
Yes. You against me.
Any questions I can answer?
Sorry, go ahead.
I just noticed you had the CDB event policy.
That's in the management report.
It's in the management
report?
report?
Yeah, that's for me.
So I didn't want to talk about that.
No, that's not.
I was wondering if Good Neighbor Day was a made-up day that we made up, or is that some actual real day?
It's an actual day.
So we're participating with the rest of the world.
Absolutely,
Awesome.
absolutely. And I believe CCMC is actually doing something nationwide.
Communities have done. Out there herself handing out donuts.
Cool.
Yeah.
You're going to do coffee instead, right?
If you're going to come up, come up.
No, I just wanted to ask you to make a comment about tournament of the month. Is that?
We also talked about doing monthly sports tournaments, kind of later on and maybe starting in the beginning of the year. And basically what we're trying to do is build a database of adults in town that would like to start specific sports leagues. So the idea behind it is to every month have a different sports tournament, just lasting one day, a couple hours. It could be pickleball, it could be basketball, flag football, adult softball, and then finding who would be interested in doing a league. There's a lot of people use the North Village volleyball Wednesday nights and Saturday mornings, and I'm sure that they would love to get involved into an actual organized league. So basically we're using these monthly sports leagues later on next year to kind of build a database for people who want to get involved in adult activities. Sporting events and activities.
Do you have a list of the sports?
Not yet. Like I said, it's going to be volleyball, flag football, pickleball, maybe some bocce ball in there. So we're going to make it a wide variety of sports.
I've been pushing for wiffle ball.
Bocce's fine, but then you run into conflict with petanque. So
You get horseshoes too.
no.
What's wrong with that? You like throwing horseshoes? You live in Osceola County, you want horses and cows around.
Okay, anything else?
Any other questions?
Thank you.
All right, thank you guys. Have a good night.
What horseshoes are. I don't know what the heck petanque is.
You will, someday soon.
It's like getting a pickleball while
You
sitting
get my
here.
picture every day.
That's right, yeah. Okay, Steve, we have a financial report.
Actually, Susan is a brave soul. She volunteered to do it. She didn't want me doing all the talking. So.
That's right, I need to get my 2 words in.
Perfect.
Okay, our July operating cash, we had at July 31st, $772,153.64. Our July income came in under budget due to bad debt write-offs. Our working capital exceeded budget by $10,025.80, and working capital year-to-date exceeds budget by $56,307.89. Our total operating expenses were under budget by $37,000, and our net program $6.11 due to the summer breakout revenue. Accounts receivable at July 31st was